right. Also to our listeners, I hope you guys can hear us. If not, please do come through on after5radio.net. On the bottom corner right, there's going to be a chat bubble there. Feel free to let us know if you can hear us loud and clear. Usually we have issues with our audio, but I am sure we are good because my guest can also hear me on my end. So first of all, before we get to hang out with our guest, I'm going to give a brief introduction. And this morning we're going to be hanging out with a successful Zimbabwean who has put the country on the map in the world of wine, a winepreneur, guys, and the founder of Kumusha. It is so exciting to learn that after rising to the top of the white-dominated industry, a new generation of Zimbabweans are bringing their talent home. And after reading that heading on the Guardian, I was like, okay, this has given me so many questions to ask, and we are going to be asking our guest today. I am so excited for that. And so welcome, Mr. TINASHE.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, and good evening and good morning to your listeners. Which is
right, because of the time difference, hey?
Yeah.
Oh no, that is so awesome. And so congratulations, you're doing amazing out in the world. And yeah, let's hang out with you and hear what you've been up to or how you're doing it.
That is a gentleman.
That is how we do it.
No, thanks so much. We're out here doing our most to make a difference.
Right. No, that is so awesome. So I see a lot of people they're so excited having you over today after seeing the poster. And I've been getting also like my text because I put it on my statuses, and I don't blame them because I'm excited too to learn about your journey. But before we get into the exciting bits about it, let's talk about about your upbringing. Let's bring our listeners up to speed with your upbringing and a little bit about your background. Who is this winepreneur?
Geez, I was born July 85. I was actually born in Nyanga and spent the early part, probably up to 3 years with my grandma. Then I went to Harare, stayed in Avondale. So grew up all my time. Avondale, went to Avondale Primary School. Then I went to high school at St. Mary's in Nyanga for 4 years. Then I did my A-levels at Sandringham in Norton. And yeah, I think I had as kids growing in the 90s, we had a good to decent upbringing, all the ice creams and going to the arcades.
Lions Mate.
I was Dairy Board.
And Dairy Board, yeah.
Yeah, and those kind of things, going to swimming baths and riding bikes. So that was me and my friend. And yeah, after high school, Jesus, is probably looking back is one of the telling moments because I wasn't A+ student, but I was really bright. A couple of B's, lots of A's and a couple of B's. But after high school, I was really interested in going to university. Yeah, it's just so weird. But looking back, I understand why anyway. So the parents are like, so what you want to do? I was like, maybe I'll do this, course and I'll be working. That's what I wanted to do. And that's what eventually happened. I tried doing that ACA accounting course and then I started working at the supermarket, packing shelves, getting money. The parents and the aunts were still supporting as well, to a point where they said, okay, if you're just going to work, you're just going to doing yourself. So, geez, I started working early, at probably 18. I was already working, and I was just lucky enough that the place I worked, it was a supermarket, TM, Arondale. And, the manager was like, dude, you've got nice O-levels, A-levels, you should, So he started putting me on the till. After the till, he say, okay, we have this junior management program in TM supermarkets. Would love to put you there. So, 21, I was already being grafted to be a junior manager, and at 22, I was running my own department in this big retail store, and Chimbotengesa mafuta and sugar pamsika, that type of deals.
Well, you gotta start from somewhere, right?
Yeah, so holding some trading skills back then. So yeah, that's me up to the time I then left SIM for SA in 2008.
Okay. And that's exactly what I was about to, our next question was going to be, okay, when did you leave them? But there's something profound that you actually mentioned with this, Nancy. I started working at a young age when I was 18. Me, I'm thinking, dude, kids here will start working at 15.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
They start working at 15, just to for your just to start learning my life skills, right? And that's the one
but
thing.
if you look in a Zim context, it wasn't like that. If you go elsewhere, like it's
and some people are not
also
right? Some people are not and stuff like that. So it's, but having lived here, you're like, wow, it is so amazing to not to change it for that long. And, that is like, at a young age, I get it. I started working at a young age too. So I get it.
Yeah.
No, that is so awesome. And it is actually amazing that you also mentioned, Kuti, you started Ujishanda Kunana TM and then having to go Patil. Talk about today's world where we have social media, everybody wants to be all flamboyant and all that jazz. What would you tell somebody? You've mentioned TM, I didn't want to go to uni. And we value, as Zimbabweans, we value education so much as Zimbabweans, and the rest of the world, because of course we all need education, although some people differ, the likes of Mark Zuckerberg and stuff like that. They say, what's the point of going to school if you're not going to learn how to make money? You know what I mean? Because we're just going kuti certificate rakati. But you having to choose kuti, I do not want to do uni. I was that kind of person too. I didn't want to do A level. Let's begin with that. But then, because they're paying the fees, you have to, and then I go to A level, but you're smart, you're this. But my mind is like creative, more than just whatever. So it's not easy to explain in our society. Saka kupinda uri kwenda kutangira as gunana TM, didn't you feel as though I'm just selling myself low? And looking at today's world where there's social media, everybody wants to dress all flamboyant and all that jazz. What would you say about that?
Yeah, even, the low jobs are never the easiest. At some point, personally, I didn't ever gripe with it, but, there's always that societal thing that, okay, you're doing this job, well, other kids are going to university, making their lives better. And you touched on a good point that, I think the Zim society and the education system is so much that everyone has to go through school. And I feel they are academics. We still need accountants. We still need lawyers. We still need doctors, and you have to go to formal school and be academic and learn about that stuff.
Can I laugh right now? Can I please laugh right now? Yes, we do need those people. We do need those people.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah. So I suppose, for them, school and academics matter. But a person like me, like you, like any other creative man, for me, being in the classroom, I didn't have a long attention span. I'll be bored. Maybe some boring classes I'll be sleeping because I'm not meant for academics. But unfortunately, there wasn't a space for me in that environment which could teach me what I'm doing now or the path I'm going now. So I think nowadays, with all this social media and all, it's to make it, you're gonna have to go through the hard craft. Either way, there's nothing as cheap life. But what I always see and what I'm doing now, especially that I have kids. My firstborn is going into 14, and I'm always trying to find what they like, where I can support, and try to get them to be open-minded, and not just if it's school. If I feel she's not gonna do well in school, she's not gonna do what is she good at. And I think starting discovering kids' talents at an early age is quite important, and willing to support and push that at an early age, because it's very formative, So yeah, either way, there's still gonna be hard craft. It doesn't matter which area you are, you still have to do some sacrifices and learn from the bottom.
Yeah, I am so proud of you, dude. I am so proud of you. But with that being said, I just hope what is running. I feel like our parents, they're kind of getting the hang of it, but then it hasn't been easy, especially speaking for my journey. My journey has been interesting because one parent was for and one parent wasn't. But then the parent that was for they left early in my life. So it's one of those that I had to fight for my dreams and stuff like that. And now they're beginning to understand that it is my dream, it is what it is, and it's still within me, all these years, and we're still doing it. So we have to really support our kids. And if we see that they're good at something.
Which parent was it? Was it the mom or the dad who left early?
Try and guess.
Thinking the dad, maybe.
Exactly.
I asked.
Yeah.
I asked. I don't know where I got this train of thought, but they said most of the kids who lost their parents, especially the fathers, at an early age, be it to death or be it that they weren't present for some reason, they end up being the most successful in life.
So, and that's one thing I've noticed too, right? And I think because
my dad died when I was 16.
There you go. I was 19. So, we have this whole thing here, Guti. They lead, and we're used to them leading and showing us the way and stuff like that. And for a woman, apparently I ended up getting those leadership skills or leadership qualities, and that has always been within me, right? So having that support from a male figure to say, do what it is that you go for, that you want to go for. And they're usually lenient, better than mothers, I find. So even my grandpa is so lenient more than my grandma was. So I concur with what you're saying. And so I learned that you had never tasted wine. Now, I don't know. Hey, ever in your life. But now you rank among South Africans' top sommeliers and have your own wine label with international sales. Dude. So what gave you interest in exploring the production of wine? You mentioned TM, like starting from TM. And starting from TM, having never tasted wine, and then now having to explore the production of wine in the hospitality industry.
Yeah, so 2008, and I don't know if you're in Zim by then, but things were rough. Things were rough, and me working in a supermarket, I saw firsthand how the shelves were empty.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, dude, this is not going anywhere. I had a friend who stayed in Cape Town, and I figured it out. 2008, I go to Cape Town. Maybe I can work a bit, watch the World Cup. 2010, then come back home. I think things will be better,
And everybody was hopeful.
Plan, yeah.
Everyone was hopeful.
Yeah. That was the whole plan. So I go to Cape Town, man. And actually, I had some bit of money, pocket change. I meet my friends. And one of the first, I think, telling thing was getting there and, getting to where my friend was staying. And it's like, okay, this is the place. I'm like, okay, so where's my room? It's like, no, we all sleeping in this room. I'm like, okay, and there's 4 dudes already sleeping in the room. I was like, okay, something doesn't end up. And when you're in Zim and they're in Cape Town, they're posting pictures at Robben Island or the waterfront. And I'm like, yeah, man. And then the beach. And like, yeah, geez, this is happening. And you get there, it's a separate reality, And luckily I had a little bit of change, so I found an extra room for myself.
Right.
But as money was running out, and now we're realizing, okay, we start need to make an earning, and I had just gone there, and then started to looking for work.
Okay.
And yeah, but you couldn't get work now that I realized that I needed a permit, and I didn't have a permit. But there's nice thing about societies and all, and the guys were like, no, don't worry. What you need to do, you have to go to that refugee center, apply the refugee thing, get your refugee paper, the asylum seeker paper. Then you go and open a bank account, and you start going to looking for work, draft a CV and all that stuff. And that's what I did, but still I couldn't get. Obviously, I was working in a supermarket at a high level, and I thought, okay, this is naturally I look for work in the supermarket. But yeah, man, I couldn't get any job, and yeah, I wanted management position. And I remember the guys I was staying with, some of them were working in the bakery in the supermarket there, and like, dude, there's no way you're gonna be a manager. There's no black manager. It's So those realities now started to sink in, and I go there like, okay. And the guy says you qualified, but there's really no job for you.
Wow.
And he just said, but I've got a baker's position if you're interested. And yeah, I said, I'll take it on. So I had knowledge of, at least, I had managed a bakery section when I was in. So I kind of knew, because when I was working in the morning, I used to help the guys. So, I knew how to roll buns and all that stuff. And fortunately enough, the other guys stayed around the same complex working there. And they were Congolese as well. And so the whole deal was I teach them English, and in turn they teach me how to make the other fancy bread. Yeah.
Talk about French people.
Yeah.
So they know how to cook, yeah.
Crafting. We woke up in the morning, 4 a.m, and it was damn cold. And yeah, we used to bake bread. By 12, we're done. I go home, I pass through the internet cafe. We were the early ones to have those Facebook accounts, and so we had to go to an internet cafe and check. Yeah. And now it's funny, I see those posts again, because Facebook has those what you call this, memories thing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how stuff I just used to write, crazy stuff.
I know. Me too, and just posting for no reason.
Just post for no reason.
Crazy things. And
and there's no like, or you're just talking to
saying your life.
Yeah. I was documenting a lot, man. I was just writing. Now I enjoy reposting them, because some of the stuff is just like, okay, dude. Well, I wasn't censored, and what I miss is like, I hope I can go back to that and censor when no one is like really bothered about what
exactly. I'm no one cares.
Yeah. So now I have to think twice. Okay, it's gonna offend someone. This and yeah. So yeah, I used to do that, and
I miss those days. I realized you just said something so amazing. I miss those days.
I'm working there 1 month. I go back to the owner now. It's like, okay, dude, now I can make hot cross buns by myself. I can make this thing, and it's like, okay, well, I need a raise, man. So I remember I was earning R8.50 an hour. And the dude was like, you're only here a month, but you're already asking for a raise. I said, yeah, I'm now I can do my own stuff. And he just like laughed and said, okay, I'm gonna give you 50 cents more. I work. I don't mind. I can make a bit of confectionery. I go back. I said, boss, now I can make this. I need some raise.
Yeah.
And yeah, he gave me another 50 cents raise. Now I'm 9.50.
You don't know unless you ask, right?
Yeah. And then the other guys will get surprised when I come back. Yeah. And that's where it really hit home now. It's like, guys, why are you surprised? Okay, how much are you earning? And the other guy said, no, I'm learning, I think it was 11 Rand 50, the other was 12 Rand. And I'm like, whoa, wait, how long have you guys been here? And the other one had been there for 5 years, and I'm going on 6. I was like, okay, no, this doesn't make sense,
And so at that time, how much were you on? Were you
Yeah, I
now?
think by that time I like 10 rand. I started at 8.50 rand, but in 3 months I was already earning like 10 rand per hour, which was quite a lot.
Yeah, that's
Not a
not a
lot,
bit. Yeah,
but it
and
was,
back then.
you'd survive, you'd pay rent, you'd buy every necessity. So it wasn't like that bad, but I was like, so I realized, no, geez, what's happening here? So in same that time, the guys now working in restaurants. Those guys are coming now, they're balling. And my friend is like, no, I was working there. I've got 100 rand tip. Like, geez, you're getting 100 rand tip in just one day. That's my whole, that's my whole week wage. I was like, no, man, that's where the money is. I'm like, okay, I need to work in restaurants now. So I used to, after working in the morning, I used to make my own CV, go to the waterfront, door by door, just like dropping CVs and all that stuff. And on the internet, there was Gumtree. Gumtree is like this workplace space where you just send CVs there. And yeah, I would get interviews, some places, but now I had no experience. I didn't know anything. So they would ask me there, and I'd lied on the other CV that I was working in a restaurant, and they asked me stuff. Now I got blank, like, okay, don't you wasting my time. So now I figured, okay, I must put 2 CVs now, especially on the internet. One which I'm saying I'm baking bread, what I'm doing, and the other one which is like the,
what you want,
the modified one.
What you want. And we all went through that. But I think that's it. That's it for you. When you're a hustler, you know how to hustle. You have those 2 CVs.
Yeah, you have to. Exactly. And your friends are the references.
Exactly.
So yeah. So I got called one day.
That life.
So I got a phone call one day. I said, okay, it's a new restaurant opening. You're coming for interviews. I'm like, okay, sharp. I go there, and it's a group interview now. I think we're 10 of us, like in batches, 10. I got 10, they start on the other side. So we're working, and these guys are talking about these fancy things. Okay, what wine do you know? Chardonnays, Kepsa. I'm like, oh my God, not again, man. It's not me. So now I'm sitting here, I'm not sure which CV they've picked now. Because they just say, no, we saw your CV, come for an interview. And the guy comes to me now. It's like, oh, Tinashe, so you're working in a bakery. I'm like, wow, okay. At least now I know.
At least you know which one it is.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I'm working in a bakery, but I don't mean I don't even know grapes. And I just know there's white wine, there's red wine. But of course, you guys, you saw I'm a baker and you called me. So maybe you're looking for people to teach, and I'm the guy. Yeah, I'm the guy. So
and the confidence too helps.
Yeah, and eventually, I got the job. And later on, I think that the guy told me, the reason you got the job because you're probably the honest guy in that room. Everyone was trying to be too clever, but we just liked your attitude. We just liked your honesty, and yeah, you're the people we're looking for because we've got. So later on, I realized they had this hospitality program they called Let's Lobs. So they're looking for people without prior experience, and just training them up, teaching them about wine, about food, about service, so we became the guinea pigs, and that's how I got into the restaurant industry, food industry. People always ask the same question, but for me, it was money. Even in the formative years, I was learning because I realized, okay, now I got to the restaurant. So it's got hierarchy as well. So there were guys who were employed who were seasoned waiters and whatever, but you can't just go on the floor. So you have to start from the back, polishing cutlery, polishing plates and studying. But they used to give us study material, and after work, I study. I'm looking for a progression, and I'm making decent money now. But I'm like, those guys are making money. I want to be on the floor. And so, yeah, I started reading so that I could get on the floor and make more money. So I realized if you knew more, especially about wine, the more chances you'd get, more tips. And also that was initially how I got into it. And first 18 months, I was really fighting with the guys. that no, I want to be working on the tables now. I don't want to be working on the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And it became a problem that I eventually left that place.
No way.
Yeah.
Because you were a good employee.
And I felt, I wasn't progressing. So I think that's been the hallmark of my life. Wherever I feel like I love building myself. So when I get to a level and I feel I need to get to the next stage, I get frustrated now. Sometimes this is not good.
That's what creatives do. That's what creatives
so I'm like,
do.
no, these guys are blocking me. So I said, I'm leaving. Actually, I didn't say I'm leaving. What then happened is I then applied for another restaurant position. And me being me, I put where I was working as a reference, and those guys called now. So I'm going into work, and the guy's on my case. This white dude is red-faced, tears my shirt. Is like, no, after what I've done for you, and now you're doing this to us.
Progress. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's like, no, you must leave the place. And I left the place. And a few minutes ago, I saw a company coming to fetch me. I think they realized, okay, what they did wasn't wrong, and said, okay, we're gonna put you on the floor, but you're gonna start that. So for a while, I was happy, but then I just eventually left. And luckily, that wine experience got me a job at the one and only hotel, which was opening in Cape Town. That was around, I think, 2009 now. Yeah, they opened March 2009. And that's where I really saw, okay, there's this big industry of wine, and there's a sommelier, there's a head sommelier, I was a wine waiter when I started there, but I was like, okay, there's this real career progression. And I was lucky that there was two good guys, Andre Baker and Eric Botha, who were my seniors, and they just said, dude, we're going to teach you everything. And that's how I really got formally into wine and the profession, and the hotel was paying for the wine courses now. And but by that time I was still, remember, the accounting desire. So I had registered with UNISA for my BCom to accounting degree. So I was studying wine on the side. I was studying accounting. And I was progressing, starting to visit wine farms and still doing the two until, again, I had progressed from wine waiter. I was wine butler. I was junior sommelier. And now I wanted the position of sommelier now, but I couldn't get because there was another person who they only had to be one in the hotel. So now I'm frustrated again. And I'm doing accounting, I'm doing wine. I'm like, okay, no, maybe this wine thing is not for me because I can't see progression. So then I went to the HR, and there was a post in the hotel that they wanted they wanted someone in the finance department. I think it was a clerk or something. And I just applied, and the finance guys gave me a job. So I just, okay, it's fine. Now I'm starting in finance.
But you're not lucky with getting jobs, though.
I don't know. No, it was in the same hotel. Okay. So same hotel, but a different department. So now I'm working in finance. Day 1, day 2, day 3. So the guys, and I didn't tell anyone in the food department, like, so they kind of thought maybe I was in off days and maybe been on leave.
That's a new one. Oh my God.
So the manager found out, like, okay, no, dude is in finance now. And the F&B guy is like, but why are you in finance? And I was like, nah, you guys have been asking for a raise. I've been asking for a promotion, but you guys are not giving. So I'm also doing accounting. Maybe this is where I'm supposed to be. Say, no, you're coming back. We're gonna raise you. We're gonna give you more money. So they took me back again. They took me back again, and I was working already, and life was fun. Life was good. I was progressing as well. And there was this competition in 2013, which was like the young wine stewards and young chefs competing in the best hotels in Cape Town. And I was the inaugural winner for that.
Wow.
And yeah, so it kind of put me on a pedestal, and people are starting to notice in the wine circles. I was attending wine tastings, anything related to wine, I would attend, like just soaking in I would visit every farm. I had this 323 car of mine. On my off days, I used to drive to Stellenbosch, whatever, just visiting every farm.
Right.
And just soaking it up. And yeah, so eventually I got a job at the Oyster Box in KZN as a head sommelier. That was 2014. So I moved there, but it wasn't, it wasn't like a logical decision on the face value of it. It's like you're working in a hurry in a good job, then you kind of get a good offer, maybe Kwamrambinda,
Right, right.
It's still good at offer. You're gonna get money, but it's not where the action is. It's not where it's happening. So it was that kind of thing. And
how long were you there for? So how long were you there for?
Well, luckily I didn't then get to spend time there. So I eventually spent a year and a half. The work wasn't maybe the money was nice. So if I go back to my journals now, I think that time was needed because that's why I started figuring out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to position myself in the wine industry. And I used to write it down. Okay. By that time now, what interesting was happening was, I said when we got here, when we left Zim, I was like, okay, I'm just going to bring essay, work, World Cup, watch it, go back home.
And then go back, yeah.
And now this is 2014, we're still in essay. And I think there was this sort of realization amongst the communities and community that, guys, things is not going good at home. I think we're going to be staying here for a while. And I think that changed a lot of guys' mentality. Because some of my friends started doing their own stuff, mechanics. My other friend was doing, computer electronics. And I was like, okay, but what can I do also? I'm working, but there's gotta be something around me. And obviously I tend to evolve into wine. So I used to come up with like different business plans. I'm like, okay, I want to be this voice of the Zimbabweans, something like that, or unlabeled wines. And I penned my first kind of business plan. I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy unlabeled wines, but I'll sell at Zimbabwean weddings or Zimbabwean functions. And remember that time again, there was this xenophobia in South Africa. And there's a number which always goes thrown out. There's 3 million people. And I'm looking at this 3 million. I'm like, if I can come up with that business plan, even if I sell to that 10%, that's a lot of people.
Exactly.
So that was my mind. So I was coming, but then, it was just ideas, but we then realized it's the timing wasn't right. I had the ideas, but I didn't have the expertise, the experiences, but which is another lesson, if we were to ask that, you gotta write this stuff down, or you gotta write these ideas down. Sometimes you can't execute and work on them there because the necessary things are not positioned, or the time is just not right. But so I was like 6 years ahead of thinking, but I wasn't, that's where the graft comes in now. Like you have to work, you have to process yourself. And I couldn't execute, but I had the idea, but I wrote it down. And I used to ask guys, friends, this is the idea I have. Guys, let's go into partnership, let's execute, but no one is really understanding.
They will never understand. Not everyone is meant to understand your dream. That's why they say, don't tell your dream to a lot of people, because not a lot of people are meant to understand it. They're not meant to understand.
But that time is like you understand, you feel like you want to do something, but you don't have the means, so you kind of feel like someone has to help you out.
Right.
But they don't even get the whole thing. I'm like, dude, you think it will work? I'm like, okay. So I got back to Cape Town now, and I'm working now at the best restaurant in Africa, best restaurant in South Africa, best restaurant. And that decision was because when I was working at the one and only, I met this chef, Dale Roberts. And I'm working at the Oyster Box. He says, I need a sommelier. Like, okay, how much are you paying? And he was paying even half of what I was earning.
Okay.
at the current time. And when the current bosses heard I was leaving, they even offered to double my salary. And so I told the new guy, like, okay, I understand this is what you're offering, but okay, dude, this is what I'm getting here. I was very open, like, you know, but I want to come and work for you. There's no question about that, but let's try to come in between. You know? I'll figure it out. Let's just try to come in between. It's like, okay, good, it's fine. And that side, I'm like, guys, thank you, and thank you for the money. But for me, I'm not making this move because of money. If I was with money, I would have stayed. But man, I just, you know, it's just like the same. If I use football analogy, there's a difference playing in the Zimbabwean Premier League and the English Premiership, you know. Even in the English Premiership, you gotta be playing in the Champions League to be noticed, you know. You know, you can't. So for me, that space of the test kitchen was the Champions League, was the spotlight where everyone is watching. And best restaurant, I was like, I want to work there. So I worked there, and yeah, started off nicely and slow.
Are you the baby in the family,
one,
or are you the only child?
Geez, I'm actually only child between my mom and dad.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. And I got there. Yeah, I'm grafting. So the good thing about the place was it was the best of the best. So everything came to you, be it new wines, be it invitations, and be it whatever. And yeah, I'm working there. In my first year, I turned my wine program into the best. So there's this restaurant guides in South Africa. And it was the first time the restaurant won the best wine service, and I was the best there. And I remember sitting with my boss, and the boss is like, "Tinashe, man, you've only been here for a year and you've achieved this much. My challenge now is how do I keep you here? Because I know you're an ambitious guy. How do I keep you here? Not just keep you here, but keep you here and make you happy." That was his words. I'm not even mincing anything. I was like, so by that time now, I was getting confidence, and I was doing wine judging, and there was this program at UCT, which they called Wine Business Management. And I said, okay, this is the course I want to do, and can you pay for me? Like, okay, it's fine. So I go there, and we're doing, it was a 9-day in whatever, I was never an academic, so I was thrust into this academic thing. And boy, did I hate all those, what do you call them? Those sightings, and geez. And
you
so
sound
now
like you were an average student, which wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, I was bad. So I got there, and we're divided into groups, and we got this assignment to do. And the assignment was, you've got Portuguese community in Cape Town. You have to come up with a wine brand for them. And for me, the light bulb just lit. Like, okay, remember that idea where there's Zimbabwean community, and you need to come up with with an idea. So it just slid back, and I was like, okay, so I wasn't crazy. So this is possible. So I said, guys, I'm taking lead on this group, and I was just bringing all those ideas and that business plan and just plug it in there. And yeah, the idea won, group, and the professor was like, dude, you guys did very well. And everyone is like, no, this guy was behind most of it. So after now, when we left the graduate school, so the postgraduate module, you had to do a wine business idea in the environment you work in. So I went back to my boss. I'm like, okay, I have done the school. The next thing is I need to work some business idea for you. So I've got an idea. So by then they had 4 restaurants in Cape Town. I was like, I want to make a wine brand for your establishment, like an in-house wine brand. Like, Tinashe, I like the idea. But can't you make it your own wine or something like that? Wow. It's like, okay. So when I left, I had the idea of, okay, I need to make my wine, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be possible doing it whilst working, and how is he going to take it? And there he was. It was like, dude, I think you should do it on your own. It's like, yeah, I actually had an idea. So this is what I had. It's like, okay, do you need money? Like, no, I don't even know where to spend the money because I don't even know what to do. So I had the idea. I didn't have the name. I didn't know where to get the juices. So I started going around asking people, okay, where can I do this? How do I do this? And with contacts, I met a friend who is now business partner. They own Oyster Winery in the Slangook Valley. His name is Ati. So I go to Ati. So I'd been selling a lot of Ati's wines in my restaurant. I said, dude, this is what I want. I want to create a wine brand, but I don't know the legalities or where to get the juice. It's like, okay, it's fine. I owe you one. So this is what you need to do. You need to come up with a name. You need to find someone to do a label for you. I'll do the certification for you. We'll source the wines, what you want, what style, we'll taste with you. I was like, okay, it's fine. No, it's making sense. So now I needed the label and I needed the name. I was like, okay, geez, and people always ask how I ended up doing that. But you can't explain it in one instant moment. But what I recall is, so when I was studying wine, wine is so Eurocentric. You taste flavors and they say it smells like strawberry, raspberry, black currant. I've never, even up to now, I've never seen a black currant leaf. But then I used to associate these smells. Like I smell the wine, I'm like, okay, this is Matamba, this is Maroro, and this is what. So I associate foods and flavors with my wine. And I was reading this book by Jonathan Nelzieta, which is saying, wine, sometimes it's not about what you're smelling, it's about association. So if you've never smelled this thing before, you can't get it. So I was like, so every time I'm smelling, obviously, if you're smelling Matamba and Maroro, you think of Kumusha. That's the thing. So I'll take myself going Kumusha, then associate. So in my exams, I'd write, okay, I smell Matamba. This is a Chenin. Okay, what's a Chenin? The English terms, I'll be like, okay, it's Queens, whatever. Then I'll nail my exam. So I was like, okay, I might as well, if this wine thing is reminding me of Kumusha, I might as well call my wine Kumusha. That's the way the Kumusha came. And the label was because, it's like Kumusha, and I'm saying that.
This is interesting. Anyway, we'll talk more after the interview. Off air.
Then I'm like, okay, it makes sense. To me, it made sense, but to other people, it didn't make sense. And others like, why can't you use an English name or something like that? I'm like, okay.
Authenticity sells. People need to know authenticity sells. They don't know that. Yeah.
And for me, I was like, if it's Kumusha, I need to put at least a Kumusha something on the label. So if you look at my original label, it's got a homestead in Kambagama Uswa and all that thing. And there, my brand, I made 1,200 bottles. I was like, here, they've got my Kumusha wines, buy. And they kind of sold well. And people were like really intrigued, especially the Zimbos, like, okay, Kumusha, someone has a Kumusha on the label.
Right.
And it sold fast. And after that, I then doubled up on production.
So when you started, did you start with all the 8, or the 8 you progressed as you went?
It's just one. Okay. And that was 2017.
Okay.
Then people were saying, oh, you have a white, you must have a red. I'm like, okay, I produce a red. And so that's 2018. 2019 was kind of rough because now I had doubled and tripled my quantities, but the stuff was not selling. So there's a lot of business lessons around it. If you have time, I'll just go through. But it was just, I wasn't marketing well, my pricing was wrong, and the label itself was fine to a certain demographic and Africanness. People would relate to it, but it didn't have that classic crossover, international feel. So that was some of the reasons. So eventually, COVID came, we all left our jobs. Obviously, we weren't working in restaurants, and I had the Kumusha left with me by then. Luckily, all that dead stock became gold because we had an alcohol ban, and I was just bootlegging all the stuff out of it.
Especially during lockdown when alcohol was not available, you had the alcohol.
So I was bootlegging, and it gave me a thing, and I was like, okay, let me brush up this wine thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I brushed up my wine label, and I had a guy, very talented designer, who did the now original label for me now.
Okay.
So, and it's quite interesting that I was like, okay, this is making sense to blacks, but to whites not crossing over. So I needed a white guy to help me design this thing.
Right. Well, you need that too, yeah.
So I'm part of a documentary that, okay, it's another story, but in that documentary, we were shooting a scene, Kumusha, and I was on top of the mountain. The director took a picture of me and posted it on Instagram. And when they were editing, it was like, Tinashe, that scene is going to be the end of the movie, and it is. And they said, but you're saying something so profound, but our mic sound didn't catch the sound. This is what you're saying. Can you do it for us? Because it's powerful. And now I go to Rowan and like, I need a label. And Rowan is like, Tinashe, there's a picture you posted on Instagram when you're Kumusha, when you're standing. Do you have that in high quality? And to me, I was like, okay, two white guys are talking about the same
there you go.
thing. So this is, I'm on the right track. And so that's where you see me on the current label. I'm that person in the middle.
All right.
And so we started bringing all the elements around, flame lilies, national flower, great ruins, and the label came out, and the whole perception changed now, and the whole market's opened up. And you kind of need some luck in it as well, and the timing. So by that time, you remember that 2020, that's where the Black Lives Matter started, and it was really massive in the US. So I had met a friend in these wine tastings, an American lady, Lauren. So she's editor for Wine Enthusiast, which is one of the biggest publications in the world. So she said, no, Tinashe, I'm compiling a list of Black-owned brands, and I want to include you. And she put me in the top 20 or 57 Black-owned brands. And the phones just got calls from America. We need to list you, and everywhere. And it just blew. And that's like where they say the rest is history. That's how I got into America. And when everything is in America, everyone else
will follow.
It's like, wow, this thing is blowing in America.
I know.
We need to have it in Zim. We need to have it. So
well, thing is, America is associated with excellency. America is associated with being the leaders in everything, whether they're doing good or bad. They just associated with being pioneers of a whole lot of things. And thank you so much for walking us through your journey, really, from how you started. And I hope it is something that will actually encourage other people. But you know what, it is actually about timing. Even some things that I got from you to say, important things like writing down your vision. Writing down your vision is really important, because like you said, it may not happen then, or maybe for at that time you have a lot in your head, and just writing it down will remind you at the right time. Good, I think it's time for me to do this. And maybe you would have forgotten it, but then you kind of have an idea, and having it detailed, it kind of helps you. And that is so amazing. Sorry, go ahead.
And you be like, sometimes you're like, oh geez, okay, so I didn't understand. Now it makes sense.
Now it makes
sense.
Amazing.
Yeah. But if you didn't have any reference, you can't. So everything is about referencing.
Right.
Yeah, and we can go on and on.
You've answered my question, my $1 million question, and I hope everybody has had answers through your journey as well. And definitely we're going to talk more. I told you, we're going to link up after, on off air, because there's a whole lot of things that I also need to learn as a business owner. And also, just learning your journey is quite profound, because I may be in the entertainment industry, but also learning how you went through your journey could also help my journey as well. So the one question that I wanted to ask, I don't know if you didn't answer this one, was how are you able to identify now, for somebody who never used to drink wine or had never tasted wine, how are you able now to identify the variety of grape, country of origin, the appellation, the vintage, the producer, like all of that? How did you end up having those senses within you?
Yeah, I think it's one thing you need to have is memory and good understanding of things. So if you taste something, you gotta remember. So I think that's one aspect of it, and the other one is a bit of studying. You have to read, obviously, and taste more and drink a lot.
And not become an alcoholic in the process, but anyway.
Drink responsibly, drink responsibly.
Right.
So yeah, that's part of it. It's
right.
a lot of studying, lots of memory. Like I remember every bottle of wine I open, how it makes me feel, who I was drinking with, where we were drinking, what was the setting, those kind of stuff. And I think that's what I'm good at. Yeah.
Right. So do you think, this is one question that I thought I should put out there, because when I read your article, I noticed something really profound when you're talking about Zim and going back home and Kumusha and opportunities being back home. Do you think there are opportunities for us, our generation, back home?
A lot.
What makes you say that? Because we hear some people saying, and don't get me wrong, there's some people saying, guys, that's where the deal is. And we're learning of lots of opportunities there. But who is able to figure out how it is back home? Who is able to figure that out? Because you hear some people saying, I think this year alone, I've received 3 emails or 4 messages. Or how do I leave? How do I come to Canada? I'm thinking, dude, it's painful.
But it's good for them. It's good for them. But they have to leave so that they can be exposed to something and get experience and get. So for me, I think there is opportunities, and I'm riding on it. I'm doing very good business with my wine in Zim. I think at the moment my wine is the fastest. My Cabernet Sauvignon is the fastest selling red wine in Zim at the moment. So there's definitely an appetite for wine and wine experiences, and I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I'm already working on a project for a wine bar in Harare.
So guys, letting the cat out of the bag right here on After 5 Radio, first and exclusive. This is where we shine and say yay.
So those and you know what, I think Zim, every country, like you were saying, in Canada, in South Africa, opportunities is you just don't walk into opportunity. You just don't. It doesn't just come to you. You have to find for it. So for me, what I feel about Zim is there's so much noise, there's so much polarization, there's so much people are going through the most. But that's when the real opportunities are. So what you need to do is block all the noise around. Just find your space in there. That's what I've done. There's a lot of noise everywhere. But if you listen to that noise, you'd never see the opportunities. So they are, man. And it's it's in those, not traditionally, because everyone says there's no opportunity in Zim, but everyone is growing cabbages and selling cabbages. How can there be opportunities now? There's no one doing coleslaw salads, or there's no one doing fried cabbage. That's how the opportunities are. So I kind of feel Zim people, because everyone enters the same thing. So there is no opportunity in those things. But there's a lot of opportunities in other things. And sometimes you have to have traveled like I do, or gone outside like I do. So sometimes, we talk of this. I wouldn't have known where my life would have been if I had left the country. But I tried to take a look at the people I went to school with who are still in Zim and what they're doing now and where they are. And I feel there's 100% or 90% chance I'll be like them. But because I left, I am a different person. So it wasn't by choice that we left, but sometimes you can spin it and look at it as like it was a blessing in disguise. So sometimes life is about how you perceive it. Either way, people you're just gonna leave a country because you pushed or you pulled. Either way, you've left the country.
Right. And what word of encouragement would you give to our listeners today, saying, you know what, as much as we're talking about, how people may want to leave and that the opportunities in Zim, but for somebody who's trying to figure out life right now, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, just get out of that bondage of thinking, of the norm. I think the greatest ideas come from thinking, from crazy curious, things you fantasize about, things that run in your head, and start there. And the challenge is you've got an idea, but you feel you want to start achieving it before, but don't be scared to start small, learn from the people around you, and listen and just feel the pulse, listen to your gut, and don't do something you're not enjoying because it doesn't make sense. Find your niche, find something which is interesting, and just hone on it, learn, and eventually the opportunities will come. And Steve Jobs said it, like you can never connect the dots going forward. You can only connect them going backwards, so
exactly.
Don't think like that one step is not, like, if it's not working, it's not like it's, and entrepreneurship is not for everyone else.
Thank you.
And boy, do I feel sometimes I wish I was just a happy guy with a good job, going to work and coming, so that I don't have to worry about these ideas or whatever. So it's not for everyone. Some people are happy in what they're doing in life, in their successful career. So don't feel like, geez, that guy, it seems nice on the face of it, but there's a lot which goes around. So it's not for everyone. So if it doesn't work for you, don't feel bad. Find your niche.
And last but not least, I got a question from our producer asking me, how did you get Tinashe for an interview? So now this is the moment for you to share your social handles for people to support. It's also, we're all about support here at After 5 Radio. And our audience is actually back home. For those who do not know, I know what the people now know because of Kumusha, but just for people even by the diaspora here, they've seen the poster and whatever, where can they follow and support your social handles, how they can get your products? Give us your Instagram, your Facebook, your everything, how we can support you.
Yeah, I'm probably on the biggest social networks using the same name, TINASHE NYAMUDOKA. So you just search TINASHE NYAMUDOKA, you find me on Instagram. I love it. I love Twitter. I love LinkedIn.
Okay. Let me get you on Twitter.
I regularly post on Facebook because I have to please my aunts and my grandmas.
The older generation.
Yes. But yeah, that's where you can find me on easy Google or Kumusha or Tinashe. You'll find me. And like you said, how did you get you did a DM? And one of my things is I reply and respond to every DM, every message. I try my best to reply. So if I feel the energies are connecting, like yours one, I do interviews, but sometimes I just say, okay, hi. Hi.
I know.
So in terms of the wines, they're readily available in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Through liquor supplies.
Okay.
The 4 stores in Harare, Blue Whale, Vic Falls. In America, I'm in probably 21 different states, the major states, New York, California. So just make a search. Available in Kenya, available in Accra, Ghana. In SA, available in Cape Town, Johannesburg. We are available in the Netherlands. You can still order online anywhere in Europe via them. Early February will be available in the UK, hopefully in Nigeria and India.
And I am going to be in the UK sometime this year, so definitely I am going to be posting on IG my Kumusha bottle, just so you know.
Yeah, and one thing, probably before you go, and it's very important, and I think especially in Africa or everywhere you are, we think our market is Zim, our market is there. I always thought global when I was starting this thing. I knew I needed a product which would sell anywhere in the world. And I can confidently tell you that that's one of the biggest. If you told me one of my proudest thing is having seen this product coming from Zim as a person, being developed as a product in South Africa, and now selling worldwide. like a Nike.
Wow. Wow, we are so proud of you, and I am so happy for you. Trust, I am so happy for you, and I am going to be bugging you, by the way, just so you know. Kanagambona video with 1 2 cha cha cha, as in annoying. Yes, I am 1 2 cha cha cha, so I am actually going to cha 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 you. No, thank you so much, Tinashe. It was actually a pleasure getting to know your journey and getting to know you as an individual too. And I feel so inspired, and I hope our listeners too did get inspired. And yeah, guys, Auntie, feel free to DM me. And that is exactly how we got to link up with Tinashe. And we spoke to him, dude, we wanna, have you on air and and just tell us your journey. So we are actually grateful to have had you today. I know, Guti, you're such a busy man, and being a business owner, a lot needs to be done, and you're probably getting ready to work. I don't know if you do on the weekends.
The dad, you could even hear my young daughter eating some porridge there.
Oh, Scott, now being a dad, there you go. You heard it. No, thank you so much, Tinashe. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All
have
right,
a great evening.
Oh, definitely.
And have a great day to everyone else.
Weekend.
Sure.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.